we're becoming transformed from the inside out. And that changes everything. So we've worked our way up to the 9th dimension, and before we go to the 10th, I think we need a break. I want to talk a little bit about where we are and what we're doing. This is 2018. In 2017, Mark said that the year was the biggest change since 2012. The next big change will be in 2022. And that this change, it made real timelines and possibilities that humanity didn't have before. Back in the 90s, the timelines and possibilities that humanity was on, some of them were not nice. Some of them looked like destruction. In 1989, so many people woke up with the harmonic convergence, and that began a shift of consciousness. And even in the year 2000, it wasn't known by the great beings if humanity would turn it around or not. And so many people were compelled, urgently waking up. And you're probably some of those people. You don't know why you took a different path than your friends or your family. But there's this urgency to be different, to wake up. And people say, why? And you don't know why. You don't even know what different you want to be. But you follow it. And now it's more and more clear that humanity made a leap off of a timeline that would have gone into destruction to a timeline that is unknown, but in a positive valence. So I asked the question, why us? Why now? And I have a drawing over here of a normal bell curve. And I say this is the number of people who are at a particular state of consciousness. So way out here in high consciousness, there aren't many. And right here in fairly moderate to low consciousness is the bulk of humanity. And we might say that the mystics and the masters, they've been out here a long time in their caves and on their mountains, holding the space all by themselves because they weren't connected to the bulk of humanity. They had to be on their own. You know, and somewhere here I've been for a long time, and I've always wondered, why aren't there big crowds? Why don't people get this stuff? Well, it wasn't for the big crowds. We've waited, we've worked for 30 years. And what happens, and here you guys are here too, what happens is this curve is moving. And now, well, maybe it's not moving that fast, but but now, because of what the masters and the mystics held for us, and because of what the early explorers held for us, now humanity is going to reach a tipping point, is reaching a tipping point, where the consciousness that we've worked so hard to embed is going to be, oh yeah, no one will even know that they have a higher level of consciousness because it's just the way it is. So why us and why now? Because we are not mystics. The reason we can connect with the bulk of humanity is because we're like the bulk of humanity. We're ordinary humans. We have to make a living. We don't sit in monasteries. It's people like us who are making this shift possible. And we're doing it. We are doing it. And what we'll realize more and more is it doesn't matter what we believe. Belief systems are just something to keep us divided. It doesn't even matter if we're really a good person. Are we trying? Are we doing the best we can with what we've been given? That's all that's asked. The quantum potential will take us from wherever we are to wherever we need to be. And the train is moving out from the station. And people ask me, how do you know that you're getting this. I don't see things, I don't feel things, my kids are still a problem and I still have that same boss. Because the sense of you being real is there. When I break into tears, it's because realness is right there. When you get goosebumps, and all of a sudden someone says something, and you've got this whole frizzen of goosebumps, it's because you're aligned. Those goosebumps are actually electromagnetic projections that are coming through the cosmos, and because you're aligned, your satellite dish is open, you feel them. Imagine that our bodies as supercomputers will be able to feel truth. We'll be able to feel timing on things. We'll be able to feel what to do, when to do, how to do it, because we'll just know. So just notice how often your body is in tune. It just knows what you should do and when. Listen to it. What we're trying to do isn't to get you to be space cadets. It's to get you to be at home here as masters. And being a master isn't just praying to be a master. It's really following these steps. This map lets us know, where are we? How far have we come? What's next? Well, we don't know what's next because we're exploring it. We're creating it as we go. So I really am so grateful because humanity's transformation is on our ordinary shoulders. In November, I was in New Zealand, in this primeval forest that was just dripping with life, trees so big and hollow, 10 of us could get inside. And it was a magical day. It's actually where they filmed The Hobbits. So it was that sort of place. And it was the end of our journey. I'd been traveling for 2 months. And I was walking around in nature, and I'm saying, nature, give me some messages. People want to hear what I have to say. Tell me things. Nature spirits, talk to me. Do you feel that neediness there? Well, they did too. So into my mind, what downloaded was, it doesn't come as words. It comes as a knowing, and then I make up the words. But the knowing, the words for the knowing was, you humans, you're always looking for communication, words, messages. What you really seek is connection. And you've decided that they're the same thing. I was silent because I realized that my whole world is about communication. And what have I forgone? What have I lost? Relativity, relationship, connection. So when we got to the 10th, actually Mark said, because of the big shifts that are happening now, we have to start the 10th dimension in 2017. So we've just been at it for 6 months, and who knows, it could be one of those 5-year explorations. But again, the 10th dimension is so different than the others. Every 3 dimensions, there's a shift. And so 7, 8, 9 are quantum worlds. The 10th is totally different. Mark calls it relativity. He's using not a human word. He's using an Einsteinian word because we don't really grasp what relativity is, and he doesn't want us to grasp it. He wants us to understand it's relationship, but not just relationship. It's something else. So relativity is a whole leap above the quantum world. And the way he explained it to me, he has to take it to the very basics in the beginning. And he said, everything is about relationship. You humans think it's about this individual and that individual. But he said it's about what he calls the space between, the relationship. How the peas and carrots and meat make the stew, not how they're separate. And he said, when you're a parent, when you're a married couple, the arrival of a baby is what makes you a parent. You aren't a parent before that baby is born, and then that relationship changes everything. He says, I'm not a teacher until you show up. Mark actually said he doesn't exist until we started asking him questions. And when we're not connecting with him, he ceases to exist because he has no need to exist because he's not in relationship to anything. So this one's an easier one to draw because it's just points. We think about the quantum potentials, all the individuals, all the things we could be, all the items and objects in the universe. There's a lot of them. I'm just drawing a few. And of course, there's infinite objects, infinite perspectives, infinite everything. And he said, we humans think that these are important. Why? Because we can dissect these. We can measure the endpoints, the objects, the subjects. He said, but the real universe isn't in the objects or subjects at all. So do you see why we had to take ourselves out of being subject? We could no longer hold on to our own identity because then we're a subject and everything else is an object. So the 10th dimension takes us away from that. He said, what's important in the fabric of the universe is the relationship between this and this reality, this endpoint and that, this person and that, this planet and that sun. So, of course, then it gets very, very messy because everything has a relationship to everything else. Right? So, there we go. He said, once you're conscious of the relationship, that unfolding of not just interconnectivity, but interactivity. Everything influences everything else. How do the stars align and make you really a Virgo and not a Sagittarius? How does that happen? It's because everything influences everything else. And he said, once you feel this pattern of interconnection, you can let go of the endpoints because the object or subject weren't important. It's the pattern of relationships. It's this woven net that is the universe. I hope I'm describing that well. He calls it the space between, when we let go of all object, all identification, and feel how the relationships, how everything is relative. So you can imagine, it changes the ballgame. And we're getting to harder and harder places to comprehend. So I want to mostly read something that he wrote that we channeled recently. He calls it, you are jewels in the universe. And he's talking about the 10th dimension, how we are in these high dimensions, and this is what he said. You will find seamlessness in your life. You will find that who you are and where you go are the same thing. Thinking and differentiating, let's see, did I say that right? Oh, and that what you do and who you are the same thing. Thinking and differentiating, trying to understand what you believe, keeps you out of the space between. The space between is a space where the universe exists. The things, the concepts, the theories, the you, the me, are perceptual illusions of the things between. Everything is nothing. Everything is the stuff between. When there seems to be something in the stuff between, that is a temporary perceptual illusion for the sake of experience. Everything, a thought, a person, a planet, is a temporary illusion for the sake of experience in the nothingness of the space between. We try to get you to not identify with the objects because you can't see the space between when you're standing in the illusion. When you dissect illusions, you don't find truth. You can dissect the meaning of this or that, but there's no truth there because it's temporary. even if it's temporary for billions of years. It's a temporary illusion for the sake of experience. The universe exists in the space between the nothing, the quantum field. As you begin to entrain with the quantum field, you don't lose yourself. You just lose yourself as your only vantage point, as the only observer. You then witness all that is from all that is. That perspective changes you. Your small sense of being becomes irrelevant when you are finally encompassed in all that is. Your gurus talk about self-realization. Self is the mistake in that. Realization is all that is, realizing it always was all that is. You have that capacity. You are consciousness undivided. You've forgotten that because you've become the division that you think you are. But you have the capacity to know all consciousness, and that's why you're so pivotal to the universe. We don't know what you're capable of. Humanity has never before reached this level, this apex of awareness. The growth begins to be exponential. You have access to peace, to Godness, to universality. That's your great power. You are so able. You are so guided. We know you have doubts. Your doubts don't matter. You show up, and in showing up, your hearts are open, your souls are open, your beautiful humanness is all it takes. You are jewels in the universe. We have nothing more to say because what we have said is tremendous. The 10th dimension, relativity, the space between. The ancient Vedic scriptures say it's not this, it's not that, it's the space between. What if we can stand in that space, in the fabric of the universe, and know everything? Have all lives, have no lives, have all choices. We're downloading human consciousness that humanity may not even be able to open yet. We're downloading it on a computer that's way in the future. Or not. Way in the future perhaps for the masses. But we're doing it. Why? Because we can. And these are great times. So, relativity, relationship. These spaces are, I can't define them, I can't describe it. So it's going to be one of those sweet journeys where I invite you to lose yourself, be holographic, be quantum, be nothing, be everything. Be quiet. If you nod off, that's fine. It means that your consciousness needed to give you a nap so that you wouldn't control it. So we're downloading relativity, the software that runs the dimension of relativity, the 10th dimension. We might not be able to work the software right away, but this is where we are now. Since July, we've been working with relativity. And so the reason we're doing these workshops is to bring you along so that you can say, I like this, I get it. I want to join. I want to be an explorer. I want to create the stepping stones for humanity because they're back there and they're in a hurry. So, open your heart, your souls. Know you don't have to be different or special. You're jewels in the universe, and you certainly are shining. So let's see where this takes us. So I invite you not to have any concepts, not to have a to-do list when you go there, because that's the best way to get thrown out. And let's just hang out in one of the highest spaces we ordinary humans have ever been able to reach. And let's do it together. You might imagine that you're holding hands with all humanity, the fish, the whales, the ladybugs, everything. So we're going to enter this space, not being human, but being all that is. For starters, the purpose of the universe is connection, experience. And we say to you, even evolution is not a purpose in the universe, except as how it expands experience. There is no finish line you need to come to. There's wholeheartedly being you at every moment of the journey. So profoundly being you that there's infinite room in the universe for everyone else to profoundly be themselves, even if they've forgotten who that is. So as you enter the 10th dimension, you're entering a very sacred space. A space where all existence is honored and revered, and all experience is honored and revered. And you are honored and honoring. You are revered and reverential. This sacred space spans universes. It spans the non-physical world. And as you expand, you realize there is nothing that is not sacred. Let yourself be enveloped by this holy sanctity. Know it. Know the universe is ever expanding, yet complete at every moment. Know yourself is ever expanding, but complete at every moment. Feeling the sacred interconnectivity of all things. Feel how this sanctity disarms you, transfigures you. And as you begin to grasp the interconnectivity of all things, there is born in you a love so abundant that it floods your experience of the universe. Connectivity is only love. There is nothing that connects in the universe but love, honoring, reverence. Feel you and your world transformed by knowing this space. Keep letting yourself be dismembered, broken apart, so that you become universal. You never didn't belong. You are part of the fabric of the universe. Without you and all your experiences, this universe could not exist. The healing of duality, the healing of masculine, feminine, the healing of polarization is here at the 10th dimension of relativity, interconnection. All healing, all wholeness is born here. Just let yourself be here, let yourself go here. These higher planes function so much above your ability to even intend. Imagine that you are the gateway to the higher dimensions for your own life. Feel yourself open, a portal, a gate, and anything that needs to come into your world will find its way magnetically through the relativity of the universe to you. You are not the director. You are the open door. Again, we just hang here because the higher levels of your awareness are being reformatted so that they know this space. They are this space. With all you've touched into today, bring it home. Bring it into your heart. Bring it into the quantum field that's shared with all humanity. You have given yourself the opportunities for spectacular change, with power and not force, with love and not struggle, with oneness and not competition. We would say, it's been a good day. Notice that you're physical, that you're here, you're in all the dimensions, but you're also in this time, in this space. That you're a portal from the 10th dimension to the 3D. So feel your beautiful holy body. Remember, you don't have to remember anything. There's no homework. You've embodied these changes. This is about embodying your multidimensional nature. And while your eyes are still closed, see the world transformed. All the things you want for Mother Earth, humanity, all the stars. See it now. It's just a quantum perspective after all. Realities aren't earned. They're chosen. Breathe yourself back to your body. Being disoriented is good. It means you popped out of your old reference points. More and more you'll feel like you just woke up from a dream and you can't remember where you were or what you were doing. That's perfect. Because in these higher dimensions, the world is a lot more like our dreams. Beautiful ones, this is Mark. True explorers set off without knowing what they will find. It is in the spirit of exploration that we urge you onward. What you find recreates you, and recreates you again and again. Complacency is safe, but it's small. You are cosmic beings who have forgotten your power. You've forgotten your scope and your perspective. You've been happy to let everybody else be God. You've chosen to be here at magnificent times. We thank you for your curiosity. This is Mark. I'm reminded of Mark's first words in 1989. You can have a tremendous mystical experience, and when you come back from that, though you may discount it with your words and your thoughts, you are not the same person and cannot be. Thank you all for joining us on this journey on live stream and here in the studio audience and the people who will be watching this later. We already know you. Even if it's years from now that you watch this, you were here. You are here. Namaste.